All right, I'm joined now by former Congressman Bob Inglis, Republican from South Carolina, now the executive director of a nonprofit dedicated to free enterprise solution for climate change. And the reason I wanted to have you, Bob, on is that I feel like you got the first wave of the thing that made Trump, which is you got primaried in 2010, you got kicked out, you were in a conservative district, a conservative Republican with a conservative voting record who believed in climate change, and you got primaried and you lost. How do you now understand what is happening 6 years later with this nominee?
Well, I think it's a little bit different, actually, Chris. I think what I got tossed out by was the rhino concept, and it was a purity caucus, you know, that somehow there's going to be this sort of purity as to what a Republican is. The one good thing, I got to tell you, it's hard to find one good thing about Donald Trump, but one good thing you can say about him is that he's busted all that loose. There is no telling what a Republican is now. Are we isolationist or are we interventionist? Are we protectionist or are we free traders? Are we pro-life or are we pro-choice? It's anybody's guess. It's whatever he had for breakfast this morning as to what we are today. And so, in a way, that's good, though, Chris, because with the work we're doing on climate change, it sort of strangely helps us.
Well, here's where it doesn't. Let me just say this. Here's where I see a through line. This is back in 2012. This is Trump. The concept of global warming was created by and for the Chinese in order to make U.S. manufacturing non-competitive. Now, we've talked a lot about the conspiracy theories that Donald Trump either believes in or floats. But we have to keep in mind that institutionally, as a political body, the essentially entirety of the Republican Party at this moment believes that thousands of independent scientists across the globe working in hundreds of different languages have together conspired to create a hoax of a robust empirical result that finds that the climate is warming. That is a crazy belief, and that is the institutional belief of the Republican Party.
Well, I think that's what I'm saying is I think this is a good thing because what we're seeing is that it won't be the institutional belief because people realize when you've got a guy that cites the National Enquirer as a source, that perhaps this isn't a guy you want to listen to. And so if he keeps on saying things like that China invented this, that'd be actually helpful for our cause because the more he makes the hoaxsters look absolutely unhinged, to quote Jeb Bush, it really helps because it causes people that want a free enterprise solution to a huge challenge to come forward and say, you know what, we're for these reasonable people, and we don't want to be painted with this terrible brush of reading the National Enquirer and deciding that's a good source.
This is the metaphor here is that Donald Trump is like a hot, wet rag applied to an infected wound that is drawing up, right? All of the stuff that you want to concentrate. That's the hope.
Well, it's sort of like he is iconoclastic. He's breaking up all the icons, you know, out there. And so, in a way, that's good because the worst thing for us might have been if Ted Cruz had continued this as a theological purity matter, that you've got to reject the science of climate change on theological grounds. That's harder for us to deal with. But the Trump rejection, which is so clearly untethered to science, actually sort of is something we can work with because there are a lot of reasonable conservatives out there that say, you know, that's not us.
Are you going to vote for this guy?
No, under no circumstances.
Oh, Bob Inglis, one of the most interesting voices out there, actually, in American politics. It's always a pleasure having you on the show. I appreciate it.
Great to be with you, Chris.
All right, still to come as Trump explains